It started with something so ordinary you might have missed it. A glass of water left half full on the bedside table. The morning light caught it just right, and for a second it looked alive, trembling with a quiet reminder most of us ignore. I remember standing by my patient's bed that day, watching him reach for his pills. Before he reached for that glass, he said, "Doc, water just doesn't taste like much anymore." And I smiled politely, though what I wanted to say was, it's not supposed to taste like anything. It's supposed to keep you here. You see, after 50 years of medicine, I've learned that kidneys don't fail overnight. They fade quietly, like a song you stop noticing until the silence feels strange. Most of the people I treated never realized how thirsty they'd been until their bodies started to whisper in swelling. Fatigue, or numbers on a lab sheet that told the truth louder than they ever could. Once, I had a patient named Eleanor. She was 82, sweet as summer tea, and sharp as ever. She'd come in every 3 months with a neat little notebook, what she ate, when she walked, how many pills she took, but she never wrote down how much she drank. I'm not a big water person. She'd tell me, "I sip tea. I sip juice. I'm fine." And for years, she was, until one day she wasn't. When her kidneys started to falter, she asked me with tears in her eyes, "Did I do something wrong?" And I remember hesitating, because it wasn't what she did wrong. It was what she never noticed. The small things, the long stretches of quiet dehydration, the over-the-counter pain pills she took after gardening, the morning she skipped that simple glass of water. That's the cruel kindness of the body. It forgives you for so long that you start thinking you've done nothing to forgive. Then, suddenly, the bill comes due. The truth is, most people don't think about their kidneys until it's too late. You can't feel them working, can't hear them calling. They don't ache or swell until the damage is already deep. But inside you, every hour, they are cleaning your blood, balancing your fluids, keeping your heart steady. They are the silent custodians of life, faithful, patient, and easily forgotten. And yet, there's always that 1%, the rare few who listen before the body screams. They don't drink gallons or chase miracle cures. They simply honor a rhythm, a glass of water in the morning, a pause before taking another pain pill, a meal balanced enough to give the kidneys less to carry. They aren't lucky, they're attentive. I've seen that kind of quiet wisdom more often in old souls than in young bodies. People who have lived long enough to realize that care doesn't have to be dramatic. It's small, it's steady. It's in the way you reach for water before coffee, or take a short walk before you rest. That morning, after Eleanor left my office, I poured myself a glass of water and stared at it for a long while. I thought about how something so simple could separate the 1% from the 99%. Not wealth, not genes, not chance, just awareness. So before you reach for your next cup of coffee or your bottle of pills, take a moment. Look at the water waiting for you. Drink it slowly, gratefully. That's where health begins, not in fear of disease, but in the quiet decision to listen before the silence becomes too loud. Tomorrow morning, when light touches the first glass, you see, don't pass it by. Pick it up. That's your first small act of medicine, the kind only you can give yourself. Eleanor's story stayed with me for years, maybe because she reminded me of my own habits, how easy it is, even for a doctor, to forget the basics when life becomes comfortable. I used to tell my younger colleagues that medicine is 70% listening, but the truth is, health itself might be the same. Listening not just to your doctor, but to the small cues your body offers every single day. The dryness in your mouth, the way your ankles puff up a little after dinner, the fatigue that feels deeper than tiredness. They're whispers, not alarms. Most of us drown them out with distraction. Or we say, "I'm just getting older." I remember one afternoon, years after I retired, a neighbor named Frank knocked on my door. He's 78, a proud man who still mows his own lawn and never asks for help. He said, "Doc, I'm tired all the time. Think it's just age, catching up." I invited him in, gave him a glass of water, and asked him to drink it while we talked. He looked at it like it was a test. 10 minutes later, he said, "I actually feel better already." We both laughed. But I saw something in his eyes surprise, like he'd rediscovered something obvious. The next week, he came back and said, "I've been drinking water like it's a new hobby. My head feels clearer." That's what reflection looks like, not grand change, but gentle course correction. Sometimes the answer isn't another medication. It's removing the small neglects that have piled up, the late-night snacks, the salt-heavy soups, the pain pills taken just in case. Kidneys are the quiet record keepers of all that we do without thinking. And when you give them care, they reward you quietly. 2 better mornings, clearer thoughts, steadier balance. There was a time I thought prevention was boring. Patients didn't want to hear it, and I didn't always want to repeat it. But after 50 years, I see it differently. Prevention isn't about rules, it's about kindness. Not the loud, heroic kind, but the steady kind that says, "I'm still worth the effort." It's choosing to fill a glass before you sit down, to walk a little after lunch instead of resting right away, to skip the second dose of an over-the-counter painkiller because you know your body already has enough to filter. When I talk about the 1%, I don't mean the lucky ones who never get sick. I mean those who learn to pay attention to water, to rest, to patience. Their secret isn't youth or wealth or even perfect discipline. It's awareness, practiced daily, until it becomes second nature. You don't have to overhaul your life to join that 1%. You just need to start noticing, when was the last time you drank a full glass of water on purpose? Not just because you were thirsty. When did you last stop taking a pill you didn't truly need? These are the moments where the difference begins, not in hospitals, but in kitchens and gardens, in the quiet spaces of your day. I still think of Frank walking by my window with a bottle of water swinging in his hand. He waves every time. He's lost a little weight, gained a little spark. When we talk, he tells me, "Doc, I never knew something so small could change so much." And I nod, because I've learned that the body is generous. When you start caring again, it forgives quickly. Tonight, when you sit down to rest, don't just think about what's gone wrong. Think about what's still working. Those 2 small organs in your back, filtering every drop of life through them. Thank them not with words, but with water. It's the simplest gratitude you can offer. The last time I saw Eleanor, she was sitting by her window with a small notebook again, but this time, on the first line, she had written one word, water. She smiled. When I noticed, I finally learned, "Doc," she said, "I used to think taking care of myself meant avoiding sickness. Now I know it means honoring the simple things that keep me alive." That moment has never left me. It was quiet, almost sacred, a small confession wrapped in sunlight. You see, the body doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for partnership. It wants you to notice, to pause, to respect its rhythm, and that rhythm thrives on balance, hydration, nourishment, and rest in equal measure. The kidneys are just one example, but they remind us that health is built in invisible acts. A glass of water before coffee, a mindful pause before reaching for medicine, a balanced plate that speaks softly instead of shouting indulgence. When I think about the 1%, I picture people like Eleanor and Frank, not superhuman, just steady. They've turned care into a habit, not a chore. They don't chase longevity, they live it, one choice at a time. They understand something that medicine often forgets, that healing isn't always about treatment. Sometimes it's about trust. Trusting your body to respond when you finally listen. There's a strange peace that comes with this understanding. You stop trying to fix everything at once. You start tending instead, like watering a plant you love. Not because it's dying, but because you want it to thrive. That's what your kidneys need. That's what you need. Tomorrow morning, when the first light creeps through your curtains, let it remind you of the same truth that struck me by that bedside years ago. Small acts save lives. Before you pour your coffee, pour your water. Before you rush, breathe. Before you medicate, reflect. If you want to join the 1%, don't chase numbers or diets or promises. Chase awareness. Let your mornings begin with water, your afternoons with gratitude, your evenings with rest. Over time, you'll notice something beautiful, not just better health, Buquete confidence. The kind that says, I am still capable of caring for myself. That's the real medicine of aging, not in the pills or the procedures, but in the patient attention you give yourself. The difference between decline and vitality is rarely dramatic. It's the glass of water you drink before you feel thirsty, the decision to rest before exhaustion arrives, the awareness to question what your body truly needs. In caring for your kidneys, you care for every part of you that depends on balance. Your heart, your mind, your peace. Let each sip remind you that health is not luck, but partnership, one that rewards patience and consistency. Tomorrow, start small. Drink water. Stretch gently. Give your body the quiet respect it's earned. And when you do, remember Eleanor's simple line in her notebook, water. That one word holds everything you need to live in that rare, peaceful rhythm of the 1%.